We all grew up laughing with the McCullough family, but the 2026 truth is far darker than any sitcom script. While one niece is now a multimillionaire digital mogul, the nephew you loved was forced into grueling manual labor just to survive. Brace yourself. The secret drama behind this family is pure Hollywood heartbreak. Bernie Mac as Bernie McCullough. Bernie McCullough, the sharp-tongued patriarch and king of comedy, was portrayed by Bernie Mac. Born October 5, 1957 in Chicago, Illinois, he was 44 years old when he brought a raw authenticity and unapologetic wit that gave the show a sense of real-world struggle rather than just scripted humor. This role turned him into a household name and earned him 2 Emmy nominations after years of dominating the stand-up circuit. Bernie Mac passed away on August 9, 2008, at the age of 50 in Chicago, Illinois. His death was caused by severe complications from pneumonia, marking a tragic end to a career that was still reaching its highest peak. With an estimated net worth of around $15 million at the time of his death, he left behind a massive comedic legacy. But behind the booming voice was a life defined by a grueling battle with chronic illness and family loss. For over 20 years, Mac secretly suffered from sarcoidosis, an inflammatory disease that attacked his lungs and frequently left him gasping for breath between takes. This physical agony was compounded by the early deaths of his mother from cancer and his brother from a heart attack, leaving him as the sole provider for an extended family, while his own body was failing under the pressure of a 16-hour workday. And even that silent struggle became part of what made his comedy so profound. Mac carried the grit of the South Side into his final performances in Soul Men, 2008, and Old Dogs, 2009, giving his roles a weight that felt lived rather than acted. His life was a legendary star, evidenced by the 2026 expansion of the Bernie Mac Foundation, which now provides respiratory mobile clinics to underserved Chicago neighborhoods. Jeremy Suarez as Jordan Tompkins. Jordan Tompkins, the quirky, sensitive middle child who was frequently the target of Bernie's corrective lessons, was portrayed by Jeremy Suarez. Born July 6, 1990 in Burbank, California, he was 11 years old when he brought a unique comedic timing and a lovable vulnerability that made him a fan favorite. This role followed his acclaimed early work in Jerry Maguire, securing his place as one of the most talented child actors of his generation. By 2026, Jeremy Suarez is 35 years old and has largely moved away from the Hollywood grind. After the show ended, he faced a steep decline in acting opportunities, eventually focusing on voiceover projects and engaging with fans through digital platforms. His current net worth is estimated at $700,000. The transition from a millionaire child star to a blue-collar laborer was a grueling reality check for Jeremy. He suffered from severe depression during his early 20s as he watched his peers continue their careers while he struggled to pay basic bills. This identity crisis was exacerbated by the irony of being recognized by fans while working manual labor jobs, a situation that forced him to confront the fleeting nature of fame and rebuild his self-worth from scratch. This professional death led to a personal rebirth. Jeremy married his wife, Maria, in 2017, and her support was instrumental in his recovery from the psychological toll of the industry. In 2026, he is respected for his transparency regarding the dark side of child stardom. He no longer seeks the approval of major studios, choosing instead to live a grounded life in California, focusing on personal projects and family stability rather than reclaiming his former status. Naya Rivera as Donna Donna, the fashion-forward and popular friend of Vanessa, was portrayed by Naya Rivera. Born January 12, 1987 in Santa Clarita, California, she was just 15 years old when she brought a sharp-witted energy and teenage charisma that made her a standout recurring character. This early role served as a crucial stepping stone, showcasing her natural comedic timing before she moved on to become a global television star. Naya Rivera passed away on July 8, 2020, at the age of 33 in Lake Piru, California. Her death was a tragic drowning accident that occurred during a boating trip with her young son, an event that shocked the world and led to an agonizing 5-day search. At the time of her death, her net worth was estimated at $5 million, leaving behind a profound legacy that included a SAG Award and several Alma Awards for her groundbreaking work on the musical series Glee. But behind Naya's rising stardom was a private world of intense pressure and personal turbulence. She battled severe eating disorders during her teens, a struggle she kept hidden while filming early roles like Donna, and later faced the exhaustion of a high-profile, volatile marriage to Ryan Dorsey. The pain of her divorce and the challenges of being a single mother in the relentless Hollywood spotlight pushed her into periods of deep anxiety, where she fought to maintain her professional drive while navigating a fractured personal life. And yet, that vulnerability became the foundation of her strength. Rivera used her voice to advocate for LGBTQ+ rights and female empowerment, turning her own hardships into a source of inspiration for millions of fans. Her life was never just about playing the popular girl. It was about a mother whose final act was saving her son's life, a tragic but heroic end for a woman who spent her career breaking barriers and proving that true beauty is found in resilience and sacrifice. Kellita Smith as Wanda McCullough. Wanda McCullough represented the modern, successful black woman, acting as the corporate-minded foil to Bernie's old-school parenting. Born January 15, 1969 in Chicago, Kellita Smith was 32 when the series launched. Her portrayal of a high-powered VP of a TNT provided a sophisticated balance to the sitcom's domestic chaos, earning her several NAACP Image Award nominations for Outstanding Actress. As of 2026, Kellita Smith is 57 years old and remains a powerhouse in the industry, currently starring in a high-stakes 2026 political thriller on a major streaming network. Her career expanded far beyond the sitcom world, most notably leading the action series Z Nation for 5 seasons. With an estimated net worth of $3 million, she continues to work steadily in 2026, while also launching a specialized acting workshop focused on helping veterans transition into the entertainment industry. But behind Wanda's polished image was a period of professional stagnation that nearly bankrupted her. After the show ended in 2006, Smith faced a casting drought, where she was rejected for over 100 consecutive auditions due to industry typecasting. This 5-year gap in major work led to severe financial strain and an emotional breakdown, as she struggled with the isolation of being a former star while battling the early onset of chronic joint issues that threatened her ability to perform in physically demanding roles. And yet that season of waiting became the catalyst for her evolution into an action hero, seen in her gritty, physical performance as Sergeant Roberta Warren in Z Nation. By 2026, Smith has successfully reinvented herself as a dramatic lead through her 2024 to 2025 run in the legal series Lace, proving that age is an asset rather than a liability in Hollywood. Her life was never only about playing the supportive spouse. It was about being a woman who navigated the fickle nature of fame with dignity, turning a period of professional silence into a second act defined by autonomy and creative control. Camille Winbush as Vanessa Nessa. Tompkins. Vanessa Tompkins, the rebellious and intellectually sharp eldest niece who frequently challenged Bernie's authority, was portrayed by Camille Winbush. Born February 9, 1990, in Culver City, California, she was 11 years old when she brought a fierce confidence and dramatic depth that earned her 3 NAACP Image Awards. This performance established her as a powerhouse young talent, leading to a long-running role on Seventh Heaven and a steady career in television. In 2026, Camille Winbush is 36 years old and has become a highly successful, albeit controversial, entrepreneur. Beyond her roles in Seventh Heaven and The Secret Life of the American Teenager, she pivoted to independent content creation and business ventures, including a family ice cream shop in California. Her net worth has grown to approximately $4.5 million by 2026, largely due to her savvy management of her personal brand and digital subscriptions. But behind that success was a period of intense public vitriol that nearly destroyed her career in 2021. After the pandemic crippled her family's ice cream business, Winbush faced a financial cliff and made the controversial decision to join a subscription-based adult platform. She was met with thousands of hateful messages from fans who felt betrayed by her adult choices, leading to a year-long battle with severe clinical anxiety and a professional blacklisting that forced her to fight for every paycheck. And yet, that defiance became her greatest strength, as she leveraged her popularity from roles in Seventh Heaven and The Secret Life of the American Teenager to fuel her independent business ventures. By choosing financial survival over public approval, Winbush broke the mold of the perfect child star and became a self-made woman who answers to no one, even hosting a 2026 podcast series about financial literacy for young artists. Dee Dee Davis as Brianna Baby Girl. Brianna Tompkins, the adorable but manipulative youngest child who could always soften Bernie's heart, was portrayed by Dee Dee Davis. Born June 17, 1996 in Culver City, California, she brought a natural charm and effortless cuteness that made her a national breakout star when she was 5 years old. This role earned her a Young Artist Award and turned her into one of the most recognizable faces on television during the early 2000s. As of 2026, Dee Dee Davis is 30 years old and has effectively retired from acting, with her last credits appearing in Strong Medicine and ER nearly 2 decades ago. She is now a mother and a social media entrepreneur focused on lifestyle and parenting content. Her estimated net worth stands at $500,000. In 2026, she manages her own digital brand from Illinois, prioritizing her children's upbringing over a return to the screen. But behind the baby girl persona was a childhood spent under intense public scrutiny that left lasting scars. As she hit puberty, Davis faced a 2010 cyberbullying scandal regarding her physical appearance, leading to a long battle with social anxiety and body dysmorphia. The pressure peaked when she became a mother at age 20, facing harsh tabloid judgment for her life choices while she was still struggling to find her own identity outside of the McCullough household. And even that pain became the force that drove her toward independence, leading her to officially retire from acting after minor roles in Strong Medicine and ER to reclaim her life. By 2026, she has become a vocal advocate for child actor rights, launching the 2025 Safe Set digital campaign to ensure the next generation doesn't face the same trauma. Her life was about a woman who reclaimed her soul from the shadow of fame and successfully pivoted to becoming a wellness influencer and mother of 2. Reginald Ballard as WBWB, the perpetually uninvited but hilariously loyal neighborhood friend, was portrayed by Reginald Ballard. Born October 13, 1965 in Galveston, Texas at 36 years old, he brought a unique physical comedy and moocher energy that turned a minor supporting role into a fan favorite. This performance solidified his reputation as a sitcom staple, building on the cult following he had already established in the early 1990s. As of 2026, Reginald Ballard is 60 years old and remains a prolific figure on the national stand-up comedy circuit, currently headlining his Bruh Man and Friends tour. His career in 2026 has shifted toward the digital space, where he produces independent sketch comedy for streaming platforms. With an estimated net worth of $1 million, he continues to capitalize on his legacy while appearing in guest roles on urban-focused dramas. But behind the laughter was a career nearly derailed by a devastating physical catastrophe and industry pigeonholing. Originally a star football player at the University of Missouri, a career-ending injury shattered his NFL dreams and left him financially destitute before he turned to acting. Even after finding fame, Ballard faced a typecasting trap, where he was rejected for over 50 dramatic auditions, forced to play the buffoon character just to pay rent, leading to a decade of professional frustration and a quiet battle with mid-career depression. And that grit became his trademark. Ballard bypassed Hollywood gatekeepers by building his own touring business, ensuring he was never dependent on a single network again. By 2026, he has successfully transitioned from a sitcom sidekick to a self-made comedy mogul who owns his content. His life was never only about being the guy looking for a sandwich. It was about an athlete who lost his future and fought his way back to become a symbol of survival in the fickle world of entertainment. Michael Ralph as Kelly, the level-headed voice of reason among Bernie's friends who often tried to de-escalate the group's chaos, was portrayed by Michael Ralph. Born in 1963, he was 38 years old when he brought a grounded, theatrical discipline to the show that made the group's chemistry feel like a real-life brotherhood. This role showcased his ability to anchor a scene with subtle comedy, following his earlier work on The Parent 'Hood. As of 2026, Michael Ralph is 62 years old and is a highly respected acting coach and voice specialist, currently leading a prestigious performance workshop in Los Angeles. While he still takes on selective 2026 television roles, he has shifted his focus to the technical side of the craft, including high-profile voice work for major studio sequels. With an estimated net worth of $800,000, he has built a life of academic and professional respect that outweighs his on-screen fame. But behind the calm demeanor was a brutal, dark period that saw him nearly vanish from the industry. Between 2009 and 2014, Ralph experienced a total career blackout where he booked 0 major roles, leading to a severe financial crisis that forced him to rely on community support to avoid homelessness. This professional isolation triggered a profound spiritual and psychological struggle as he watched his former castmates thrive while he was seemingly erased from the Hollywood call lists. And even that silence became a tool for his rebirth. Ralph utilized his time away from the camera to master the art of voiceover and pedagogy, eventually becoming the Long Tieng voice for characters in blockbusters like Frozen 2. His life was never only about playing the straight man, it was about a performer who survived the invisible years, turning his professional abandonment into a mission to teach the next generation how to endure the psychological rigors of fame. Lombardo Boyar as Chewy, the sharp-tongued yet often bewildered member of Bernie's poker circle, was portrayed by Lombardo Boyar. Born December 1, 1973, in El Paso, Texas, he brought a gritty, authentic, street-smart humor that balanced Bernie's high-energy rants when he was 28 years old. This role became a major turning point, moving him from small guest spots into a consistent career as one of Hollywood's most recognizable Latino character actors. As of 2026, Lombardo Boyar is 52 years old and has evolved into a premier voiceover artist, currently voicing lead characters in 2 major 2026 animated franchises. His 2026 portfolio includes work on high-budget video games and a recurring role in a gritty police procedural. With an estimated net worth of $2 million, he has achieved long-term stability by mastering the transition from on-screen acting to the lucrative world of animation and digital media. But behind the steady work was a period of severe health scares and a silent career crisis. During the 2010s, Boyar battled chronic hypertension and a weight-related health collapse that forced him to undergo a radical lifestyle overhaul. This coincided with a casting drought, where Latino roles were increasingly scarce, leading to a 3-year period where his income dropped by 60%, forcing him to sell his primary residence and pivot into voiceover work as a desperate measure to support his family. And yet, that forced pivot became his greatest professional asset. Boyar's move into voice acting allowed him to reclaim his health and financial independence, eventually landing a role in Disney's Coco that changed his trajectory forever. His life was never just about being the guy at the poker table. It was about an actor who stared down a health crisis and a failing market, reinventing himself to become a voice heard by millions across the globe. Wade Williams as Father Cronin. Father Cronin, the stern yet well-meaning priest who frequently found himself at odds with Bernie's parenting style, was portrayed by Wade Williams. Born December 24, 1961, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, at 40 years old, he brought a rigid comedic authority that provided a perfect comedic foil to Bernie's streetwise attitude. This recurring role allowed him to display a lighter side before he transitioned into one of the most hated villains in television history. As of 2026, Wade Williams is 64 years old and is a celebrated veteran of both stage and screen, currently starring in a high-stakes 2026 political thriller series. His career reached iconic status through his portrayal of Brad Bellick in Prison Break, and he has since appeared in major films like The Dark Knight Rises. With an estimated net worth of $3 million, he remains a first-call actor for complex, authoritarian, and morally ambiguous characters. But behind the successful character-actor resume was a period of intense public hostility that affected his real-life safety. Following his villainous turn on Prison Break, Williams faced aggressive real-world confrontations from fans who could not distinguish him from his abusive character, leading to a state of chronic hypervigilance and social withdrawal. This stress was compounded by a series of physical injuries on action sets that left him with chronic back pain, forcing him to undergo years of physical therapy just to maintain his ability to work. And yet, that intensity became his greatest strength. Williams embraced the challenge of being a character you love to hate, using his 2026 roles to explore the humanity behind the villains he portrays. His life was never only about playing the man in the collar or the man in the badge. It was about a classically trained actor who navigated the dangers of being too convincing, eventually finding peace in the craft of character transformation and the respect of his peers. Niecy Nash, as Benita, the colorful, gossip-loving neighbor and friend of the McCullough family, was portrayed by Niecy Nash. Born February 23, 1970, in Palmdale, California, she was 33 years old when she brought a vibrant, larger-than-life personality that added a unique layer of neighborhood authenticity to the show. This role helped solidify her reputation as one of the most reliable comedic actresses in the industry. As of 2026, Niecy Nash Betts is 56 years old and remains one of Hollywood's most powerful figures, currently starring in major dramas and hosting national television programs. Her career has reached extraordinary new heights with projects like Dahmer, Monster, The Jeffrey Dahmer Story, and Claws, earning her an Emmy Award and a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. With an estimated net worth of $4 million, she continues to be a dominant force in both comedy and prestige drama. But behind the loud laughter and bright costumes was a life marked by unimaginable violence and grief. The greatest tragedy occurred when she was just 15 and witnessed her mother being shot by a boyfriend, followed years later by the murder of her brother, Michael, in a school shooting. These horrific losses pushed her into a state of deep emotional trauma, forcing her to use humor not just as a career, but as a desperate survival mechanism to keep from being consumed by her own pain. And even that darkness was transformed into a powerful light. Nash Betts turned her personal history of loss and her later journey through 2 difficult divorces into a narrative of radical self-love and authenticity, eventually marrying singer Jessica Betts in a move that celebrated her true self. Her life was never only about making people laugh. It was about being a woman who survived the unthinkable and turned her scars into a legacy of courage and joy that inspires others to live their own truth. Rick Hoffman, as Jerry Best. Jerry Best, Bernie's neurotic, high-strung, and often overwhelmed manager, was portrayed by Rick Hoffman. Born September 12, 1970, in New York City, at 32 years old, he brought a frantic, New York energy that highlighted the absurdities of the Hollywood machine. His 11-episode arc was a masterclass in comic anxiety, providing a glimpse of the explosive talent that would later make him an international superstar. As of 2026, Rick Hoffman is 55 years old and is a global television icon, currently preparing for a major 2026 return to the Suits universe. Following his legendary role as Louis Litt, his fame exploded on streaming platforms, making him one of the most memeable and recognized actors in the world. With an estimated net worth of $1 million, a figure he intentionally keeps modest through selective investments, he is currently focused on raising his son as a single father in New York. But behind the explosive success was a decade of near misses that left him on the verge of financial ruin. Before Suits, Hoffman was so desperate for work that he had to move back in with his parents and take boudin boy band jobs, suffering through the humiliation of being recognized by patrons who had seen him on the Bernie Mac show. The constant rejection led to a chronic struggle with clinical anxiety and a stomach condition so severe it required a restricted lifestyle, and even that desperation became his secret weapon. Hoffman channeled his real-world fear of failure into Louis Litt, creating a character so vulnerable and intense that it resonated with millions of people. By 2026, he has turned his past humiliations into a badge of honor, speaking openly about the reality of being a struggling actor long after he became a millionaire. His life was never only about playing a manager. It was about a man who was almost broken by the industry, but used the pieces to build one of the most unforgettable characters in television history. Years after the Bernie Mac show first aired, the cast has taken very different paths. Some continued to shine in Hollywood, while others chose quieter lives away from the spotlight. So whose journey surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this update, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories like this.